I wanted to wait until after Christmas. I wanted to film this after Christmas and have all of my Christmas haul books in there, but that stack is so high, I can barely lift it already. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I am taking you through what has snowballed into one of the biggest book hauls that I think I've ever shown here. I, in the space of about 24 hours recently, bought 8 books, all on top of the other books that I had already to show you. So I think I'm going to expedite myself and show you what I have got on the shelves here beside me. First up is possibly the cheapest book on this haul, possibly the cheapest book that lives on these shelves, and that is a copy of Lucy Sullivan is Getting Married by Marian Keyes. Anyone who has been on this channel before will be familiar with how much I adore Marian. This, as you can imagine, is about Lucy Sullivan. I saw this in St. George's Bookshop in Berlin. It was in their like €1 box, and I said, you know what, it's a Marian Keyes book. I know I don't know anything about it except for the fact that it's about Lucy Sullivan, and I'm guessing there's a wedding in here somewhere, but it's €1. What have I got to lose? Next up is one that might surprise you, but when you realise who the author is, it probably won't. This one is Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. I am obsessed with Juno. I absolutely loved her London trilogy, which has kind of themes about drug abuse, about drug use, about the fashion industry, and about modelling, and about mainstream media's reaction to such. And I absolutely love her writing. And I know that this is such a phenomenal book. I know it's a little bit out of my comfort zone when it comes to reading. It's not going to be a full-on contemporary. There's probably not going to be a whole lot of a romantic side to it. But I am so ready to learn about this. I have heard so many people talking about it. I know that Nicola Coughlan from Derry Girls narrates the audiobook, but I just wanted to have a copy of this for myself. The cover of it is gorgeous, and I knew I wanted to have a copy of it on my shelves. Next up are 3 books from the Words and Kisses 6-month subscription that I bought for myself back in August. I got this as a 30th birthday present, half from myself, half from my parents, and these are the 3 books that came in September, October, and November. You have got Maggie Moves On by Lucy Score, you have got American Royalty by Tracy Livesey, and The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I've read The Dead Romantics, and I have read American Royalty, but I haven't yet read Maggie Moves On, so this is the last one of the trilogy that I have to finish. The Dead Romantics is about Florence, who works as a ghostwriter, but her romantic life isn't going so well for her, so she's kind of struggling with inspiration a little bit. She's kind of struggling with writer's block. She goes to her editor and asks for an extension the day before her deadline. Not a great idea. And when this is granted, she thinks this is great, but her editor then turns up at her doorstep as a ghost. I absolutely loved this. It was just a little hint of spiciness that I think I wanted, and it was just the perfect read around Halloween kind of time. I had such a great time with this one. American Royalty is kind of based on the story of Harry and Meghan. You have got Jemison, who is one of the princes of the United Kingdom, and you've also got Dani, who also goes by the name of Duchess professionally. She is a well-respected rapper. She is really successful in her career. And also on the side, she has got a multi-million-dollar skincare regime that she's really trying to push and that she's really trying to focus on. Jemison is tasked with putting together a charity event or like a commemorative gig for his grandfather who has recently passed away. And he books Dani under the name of Duchess, thinking that it's going to be kind of gentle, pleasing music for his grandmother, the Queen. And it turns out that Dani is a huge rap sensation, and her lyrics are probably not the kind of thing that the Queen should be listening to. Over the couple of weeks that Dani and Jemison get to know each other, things turn really steamy between the two of them, and I had a really great time with this. Then, of course, there's Maggie Moves On, which I haven't read yet, but I'm obsessed with this little dog on the cover. I have a feeling that this is a kind of a home renovation book, and I really love home renovation stories. I'm obsessed with Homes Under the Hammer, or DIY SOS, or The Room to Improve, or Extreme Makeovers Home Edition. Anything that has to do with home renovation, I eat it up. So I am pretty sure that that is going to be a big book for me in this book. Next up is one that I bought in Dublin, and it is 56 Days by Catherine Ryan Howard. I will say this is a COVID book. This is set right at the early stages of the pandemic, so there might be a couple of people who need to take a little bit more time before they can start reading this. This is about Ciara and Oliver, who have just met as the pandemic is starting to take force in Ireland. and they get to know each other by living in a house together while under lockdown, while in quarantine, getting to know each other. But things about both of them aren't as they seemed when they had first met. I'm so intrigued by this. This is going to be my first ever Catherine Ryan Howard, but I know that she is a phenomenal author. I've heard so many good things about her, and particularly about this book, so I am very interested to see if I'm going to enjoy it too. Next are two books in what is at present a duology but may go a little bit further. You have got Rosalind Palmer Takes the Cake and Palace Dalencourt is About to Crumble, both by Alexis Hall. I read Rosalind Palmer right as the Bake Off final was happening. I think I finished it with about 20 minutes before the show started, and that was just the perfect time to read it. It impressed me so much, it enthralled me so much, it had such cozy vibes that as soon as I turned the last page, I instantly went and bought Palace Dalencourt is About to Crumble. I think this is about an MM romance, whereas this one is more about a male-female romance between two bakers who are on a Great British Bake Off style baking show, and also you've got all of the hijinks of what happens to them behind the scenes, about the competitions that they're in, about the bakes that they have to make, and also Rosalind's life as a single mother to an 8-year-old girl. I'm pretty sure that Paris Dalencourt is a male-male romance. I'm not entirely sure about the rest of it. I think it has again got something to do with baking. I don't know if I'm going to wait until Bake Off comes back next year. I might read it during the Stand Up to Cancer Bake Off, for example, to kind of get that cozy vibe again. But I cannot wait to pick this one up. After being so impressed by Rosalind Palmer, I just know I'm going to love this one just as much. Next up is a companion novel to one of my all-time books of this year. I was so impressed by Delilah Green Doesn't Care that when I knew Astor Parker Doesn't Fail was coming out, it instantly went on my watch list. It instantly went onto my wish list. But when I saw it for myself in Dusman, I absolutely knew that I had to pick it up. This book is about Astrid and Jordan. Astrid has just left a relationship, she has broken off an engagement, and she's kind of putting herself into her work to distract her from what's happening in her personal life. Jordan's grandmother runs the Everwood Inn, which Astrid has been hired to be the lead designer of in a huge home renovation style TV show where they're going to put the hotel back together and make it a more profitable and more exciting place for people to stay. Next is an author that I'm going to give a second chance to. This is Just Like Magic by Sarah Hobel. This is a Christmassy book. It's a contemporary romance. I'm pretty sure it's not very steamy, but I don't know if I want all of my Christmas romances to be steamy. I think I just want to have a little bit of fun and coziness and cuteness and excitement here. I read You Deserve Each Other back in maybe 2020, definitely the year it came out. And I don't know if I was enthralled by it. I think it's just because it's a second chance romance, and those are not necessarily the type of books that I go for very often. I'm not a big second chance romance reader, but I was impressed by the writing style. I just didn't like the storyline itself, so I'm hoping that this is going to be a little bit gentler on me. Another author to whom I'm giving a second chance for basically the identical reason is Lyssa Kay Adams. This is A Very Merry Bromance, and I again read the Bromance Book Club back in maybe 2021. Again, it's a second chance romance. Again, I really liked the writing style, I really liked the level of steam and the level of smut that we got in the book, but the second chance romance really did throw me off. However, I know that this is not a second chance romance book, so I have a feeling that if I read this one and I get more on board with it, then I might go back and read over the other books in the Bromance Book Club series and see how I get along with those. 3 more Christmas romances that I got just in time for Rom-Com-a-thon to happen are these ones. I have got Lindsay Cuss The Christmas Wish, and I have got A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone, both on my TBR. A Merry Little Meet Cute is actually the group book for the readathon, but I saw All I Want for Christmas by Maggie Knox on the shelf as well, and it just instantly went into my basket. I've read The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox last year, and I really enjoyed it. It was a really great debut, and I knew that I wanted to read more of their books, so when I saw this, it instantly came home with me. I also picked up a copy of Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason. This book, I have heard, has got really great bipolar representation in it, and that is something that I want to read a little bit more of next year. I know that my friend Charr from Thoroughly Enjoyed Books reads quite a lot of books with bipolar rep in them, and she has recommended this to me as a really great read to try and understand more about it. So I'm really hoping that this is going to be a good one. I know that this has been nominated for prize after prize after prize, so I kind of want to see how it goes for myself. Another thriller that I got was The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I read the guest list in October coming up to Halloween and I absolutely loved it. Not just because one of the characters was called Aoife, but because the storyline was so engrossing. I never saw any of the signs coming. I never saw who had been murdered or how or why or who had murdered them. So I'm really hoping that this is going to be kind of the same situation with this. I think Lexie from Books with Lexie told me that she has read this and really enjoyed it. And Lexie is like my go-to for thriller recommendations. So if she's enjoyed it, I'm probably going to be on a safe set here. Keeping with the Irish authors theme, and I also picked up a copy of Forever Home by Graham Norton. Graham Norton's books have been kind of hit or miss for me. I really enjoyed Homestretch and I also really enjoyed A Keeper, but I didn't love Holding so much. However, I have a feeling that Holding being his debut novel, he just needed to shape himself a little bit more. He just needed a little bit more kind of practice or needed to kind of figure out where he was going with his writing. One of my friends, Ross, has read this and he really enjoyed it. So as soon as he picked it up and as soon as he said that it was something that he was enjoying, I knew I had to get it for myself as well. And he is definitely somebody that I'm going to be going to ask about how this book is going. A big surprise in this book haul is that it has a fantasy book in it. I'm not kidding. Everyone is talking about how this book has such cozy vibes. It's so comforting. It's set in a coffee shop, which is something that I love reading in books anyway. But it has kind of magical creatures in it and mystical places. So I know I have to read it because everyone is talking about it. And I think it might be like a gentle introduction to fantasy for me. And who could have ever thought that those words would come out of my mouth? Finally in this haul is The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas. I have got a copy of The Spanish Love Deception on my Kindle and I really need to read it because I know it's so divisive. I know so many people who have hated it. I know so many people who have loved it. I know absolutely nobody who's in the middle. But I've seen a couple of booktubers around say that The American Roommate Experiment is better. It's written a bit better, it's more engaging, the storyline is a little bit more believable, and I think this is kind of a companion novel to The Spanish Love Deception too. So let's see how I get on with it. I'm going to go into it with an open mind. I'm going to go into both of them with an open mind and just see where I go from there. There is a large pile of books on my bed that I probably should not have bought as many books as I did, but we're here now and we're going to have to get reading them. If you would like to leave a comment but you cannot think of anything that you would like to say, then just leave the emoji that is a face with no mouth, because that was my reaction when I realized how many books there were going to be in this haul. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.